To be or not to be an associate? That is the question I keep being asked over and over again. So I wanted to take a few minutes and address this question. There are some advantages to being an associate, and certainly it's good for you to look at those advantages. But I wanted today to look at the reality behind being a chiropractic associate most places. Now, this isn't universal. There are some great associateships out there that will teach you what you need to know, but in general, what I have seen over and over again are chiropractors who now have kind of a tainted view or a tarnished view of chiropractic because their associateship was not comfortable. Now, the responsibility lays both on the associate as well as on the doctor, of course, and so the practice person as well. And a lot of that is just due to lack of communication and lack of documentation as far as written agreements as to what it is you think you're going to learn. Um, a lot of students will tell me, and a lot of new docs will tell me, well, I'm going to be an associate because I need to learn the business side of things. And I will tell you, most of the time, unfortunately, you're not going to learn the business side of things as an associate. So think about it this way. If you go and work at Subway, do they teach you how to own your own Subway and the background of being an owner in Subway? Well, no, they don't. Of course they don't. What they do is they hire you for a job and you're paid to do that job. An associateship is typically no different than that. Now, again, the issue is the lack of communication. So if you set it up and you get in writing, hey, I want to learn the background business stuff. I want to learn all these things. And the doctor agrees and signs that, then it's up to you to make that happen. That can be a successful associateship, but I would say the rule is, unfortunately, the rule of associateships in chiropractic world is that you're not going to learn much about the background, much about the business side of things as you go. So again, when you're looking at something and there's a rule and then there's exceptions to the rule, we as optimists, we always have a tendency to say, oh, so I'm the exception to the rule and this associateship is going to be different. And I would say 80 to 90% of every single chiropractor I've talked to in all the years and all over the world, no matter what state, no matter what country you're in, they have all said to themselves, this will be the exception. Well, mathematically, that's not really possible. So most of the time the rule is unfortunately that you're not going to learn those things in your associateship. So most of the time, what you're going to learn in your associateship is, yeah, you're going to learn a little bit about how to run the front desk. Absolutely. The front desk person's going to step away and you're going to have to step in, and you're going to be able to say, answer the phone, take the credit card, schedule the patients, all of those things. You're going to learn that stuff. But is that really what you need to know to run the business side of things? So one thing you're going to want to ask, and one thing you're going to want to find out about from your doctor that you're working with, you want to find out, what's the CPA doing? How do I double check that the billing codes are correct? How do I make sure the billing service is doing their job? How did I find a billing service that worked out? How do you do payroll? Typically, you're not going to learn what's going on behind the scenes. So what's the back of the house stuff? How are they doing their books? How are they calculating that? How much money is the practice actually making? What are the expenses of the practice? So all of those things are things you're going to want to learn in your associateship, but typically not going to be presented to learn. But if you ask and keep asking, chances are you might be shown those things. So keep standing up for yourself and asking, and that might work for you. The other thing I hear students say all the time is, well, I just need to learn how to build a practice. So I'm going to work in a practice for a while so I can learn how to build a practice. Most of the time as an associate, what you're going to get is you're going to get to go to events. If you're lucky, you're going to get to go to events and help promote the practice. As you're doing that, you're going to learn things like how to talk to people, what scripts to use, little tricks to get them over to your booth, things like that. That's really great. But what you're typically not going to learn, again, is the background stuff. How did they find that event? How did they set up that event? How did they decide that event was a good fit for their practice versus a bad fit for their practice, right? So how did they decide that this was going to be a great opportunity versus a waste of money? How did they get to know, because a lot of times if you're going to be in a booth or in an event of some sort, it doesn't just take money. It also takes a reputation. How did they build that reputation? How did they get there? You're not going to learn those things typically. They're typically not going to teach you things like how to get in network with insurance companies, how to find a great billing company that's not going to gouge you, what credit card processor to purchase. And these are all things you're going to need to know if you want to leave the associateship and start your own practice. Another excuse that I hear a lot from docs and students and stuff is, I just don't have enough money to start my own practice. And I totally hear you. I totally get that. I was in debt up to my eyeballs when I got out of school, just like all of you will be, because there's so much debt out there with the high student loans. But they say to me, I just want to get a steady paycheck for a while so I can get ahead. And I will tell you that most associateships are paying so low that you will not get ahead. In fact, a lot of docs, not all, but a lot of docs, when they get done with their associateship, are actually in more financial peril than they were before they started the associateship, because they had to really pinch pennies. So average associate in the Denver area right now is making about $2,400 a month. Sometimes as much as $3,200, but mostly about $2,400 a month. So rent here is $1,500 to $1,700 a month. That's just rent if you have a 1 to 2 bedroom. Okay, we're not even talking a mortgage, right? So that is not really enough to survive on. It's not really a great thing. And typical associate making that amount of money is not going to get ahead. They're not going to have the 15 to 20 grand that they need to open their practice. So they're going to have to get a loan anyway. So all you're doing, if you're thinking you're going to save money while you're working your associateship, most of the time you're just wasting time rather than actually getting ahead financially with your associateship. Okay, and then, so let's do some math. So, if you're getting paid $2,400 a month, what does that equate to? How many patients do you have to see to make that on your own if you're in your own practice? Well, that equates to 10 patients a week. So if you see 10 patients a week, you're going to keep $2,400 in your pocket. Well, yeah, Dr. Michelle, but there's overhead and there's expenses and there's all these other things that go with opening a practice. Absolutely, there are. Absolutely. And I help docs with that all the time. So I will tell you, average overhead in Colorado, if you're, just doing bare bones opening, which means you've got a front desk, you've got about 1,000 to 1,200 square feet. You've got a couple adjusting rooms, you've got an extra massage room you can rent out, so plenty of space. So if you're looking at something along those lines, you're going to be paying between $2,800 and $3,200 a month in your overhead. Okay, so let's do some math. I know math isn't super fun, but it kind of is fun when you do it this way. So if you do let's take the $2,800 a month, and then you're going to pay yourself $50,000 a year to start. The reason I picked 50,000 is because a lot of people coming out of school will tell me, "Oh, I'm going to be an associate and I'm going to start at $50,000 to $70,000." Well, that's not really the way that works, unfortunately. There's bonuses and other things that might be able to get you there, but remember, you're building someone else's practice in the meantime. But so if you want $50,000 and you want to cover your overhead completely, you need to be seeing about 30 people a week. So if you're working a 3-day work week, that's 10 patients a day. So you get 4 days off to enjoy beautiful Colorado and hike and fish and all those wonderful things and ski. You get 4 days off a week. You're only working 3 days a week. You're seeing 10 patients a day and you're making $50,000 and covering all your overhead. So I just food for thought. I'm not trying to tell you not to be an associate. I'm just telling you to go in with your eyes wide open. If the reason you don't want to open your own practice is, well, I just don't want to, that's totally fine. I totally respect that. But if your reason is any of these other reasons that we just talked about, or other reasons, please put them in the comments, because I want to know what reasons people have, because less than 30% of chiropractors are getting out of school and opening their own practices. That's a stunningly sad number to me, because I was told all the same things you were told. I was told, you can't have a cash practice right out of school. You can't survive unless you work for somebody else and learn the business. I was told all the same things you were told, and I broke all of those rules. I broke all of those molds, and I did it fresh out of school. Literally, I guess it took me 3 months to open my practice from the moment I got my license to my doors opening, and I broke even 6 months in, and paid myself. I gave myself checks, gave myself pay 6 months in. Now you can do it a lot faster than that these days, a lot faster with the internet and the social network marketing and all those things. I didn't have any of that, and I didn't have have a coach, I didn't have a mentor. So you can do it in about a month at this point, and break even and start paying yourself. It's not that hard. It's a lot of work, but it's not that hard. So I just want to challenge you to think about opening your own practice as you're getting ready to get out of school. Again, there are associateships that are going to benefit you. No question. No question. There are associateships out there that are going to be great and that are great fits. I just want to say they're the exception, not the rule. Again, if they're hiring you to do a job at Hewlett Packard, they're not going to show you the back of the house. They're not going to show you how to build your own Hewlett Packard from the ground up. That's not a thing. You're just being hired for a job. So be really clear about your expectations. Too many chiropractors that I've seen are getting burned out when they do their associateship, which is why I'm having this discussion, because I keep talking to them over and over again who get out of an associateship. They're burned out, they're tired, they don't love chiropractic as much as they did when they got out of school. They don't have that fire and that passion that they did when they got out of school. And that makes me incredibly uncomfortable. And so because of that, I want to make sure chiropractors can succeed. So I am launching a 5-part webinar series that's going to cover everything you need to know from 6 months before you graduate, getting clear on what kind of practice you want, how to get funding for that practice, where to get that practice, how to do all of those things. I really think it's key that you have the steps you need to get into practice. And then we're not stopping there. We're then going to continue into marketing, into patient education, and so much more, how to run events, all kinds of great stuff. So the webinar will be live starting in September, and it'll be once a month. It'll be an hour once a month, so you can kind of get little bite-sized pieces. And then when it finishes in January, I'm going to package it all together, and it'll be available on my website, on my Facebook page, or on the Colorado Chiropractic Association page if you become a member to Colorado Chiropractic Association. Our goal is to make it either free or very, very, very low cost to you, so that every single chiropractor who's serious about starting their own practice will have the actual things you need to start your practice, not just, don't forget, you need to do this etherical thing that someday you have to learn about, or that etherical thing someday you have to learn about. The actual steps that it's going to take you to get there, and the connections that you need to get there. And I'm partnering with other people to make sure that that happens for you. Because again, I want you to be the best chiropractor for your patients, for your practice, and for yourself. And I want you to be able to do it in your own practice and reap the benefits that you sow, and make the money that you deserve to make, and love on the patients that you deserve to love on. So that is my promise to you. That is my goal for you. I adore all of you. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. But keep an eye out on BeTheBestChiropractor.com for the information you're going to need to access that webinar and get that webinar on your own for yourself. But please, 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 if you have comments, if you have thoughts, send me comments. I want to know what's keeping you from opening your practice. I want to know what those roadblocks are so that I can help clear them for you, because I want every single one of you to be the best chiropractor you can possibly be. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.